Yo, what's going on, man? Today is April the 9th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show, where we're live on Twitter. We're also live on YouTube as well. As always, trying to find out where the money is today, betting on the NBA. I think almost every team on the card plays today. So it's a bunch of games to jump into. This won't be a long show, even though it is a bunch of games to jump into. But I want to go through them real quick. Couple plays I made already, couple things. You kind of got to monitor the injury report, especially with a slate like this. But I do think I have all the injuries that are important. Just not sure if the guys are going to play in those games. So we're just going to jump right into it, man. Bunch of games on the board. Hit the like button for me if you can as you join. Real quick, I think I tweeted out 4-2, but we did go 3-2 on the official plays. So we didn't really get too much of it back, honestly. It was a profitable day, but only slightly profitable because Sacramento was such a small play. First quarter, first half cash. Cleveland and Clippers over 219.5 was non-sweat. Dallas didn't play any defense, so Houston team total went over. And then San Antonio and Philly were supposed to go under, but that game ended up going to overtime. So you guys see the updated numbers there. But let's jump into it for today. First game up, we got the Detroit Pistons and the Philadelphia 76ers. This is a game that we won't be on for too long. I do have some notes on it that I want to share with you guys. So Detroit, like they always do, got K listed as questionable. Fontecchio already listed out. This is the last of a 4-game road trip. Last game of a 4-game road trip for the Pistons. They've lost 9 of their last 10, but they have covered 5 of those. For Philly, this is why you can't stay on the game too long. They got the whole team listed, the whole start lineup listed as questionable. Maxey, who just played the most minutes of any player this season. He's coming off a 54-minute game. Embiid, who missed the game against San Antonio on Sunday, Kyle Lowry, and Tobias Harris, all listed as questionable. I also saw that DeAnthony Milton could potentially return. He's listed as questionable, which would be a big boost for Philly, especially as they get ready to go into the playoffs. So Philly's starting to get healthy. They do still have something to play for, currently in the number 7 seed, and it would most likely – I think that they do want to most likely avoid the play-in tournament to preserve Embiid's health as much as they possibly can. I talked about this on the Sunday show. So you get them here. It's not the greatest spot. 4th game in 6 nights. They're coming off a double overtime game against San Antonio as well. It's a terrible spot. And it's also a 5th game in 8 nights. They are 9-1 against the spread in their last 10, but I don't think that they really need to win this game by, too much of a margin. So my thoughts are pretty simple here. Detroit plus the 15.5 for nothing. It was 15 yesterday when I wrote my notes. It's 16 now. And if all these guys get rolled in, it'll probably go to 17, 18, honestly. But it's Detroit in this spot or nothing for me. I just feel like, Philly, they could potentially go over their team total. I think that's a look as well. But based on the spot for Philly, I don't like it as much. Like I said, coming off a double overtime game, Philly has 45 starters listed as questionable here. Honestly, probably doesn't – I don't even think they need all of them to beat this Detroit team. So they probably don't even play all of them, especially if K ends up getting rolled out at the last minute like he has been. I could definitely see that happening as well. Let me get my background music going too. Philly, I think that they could win, but I don't know if they want to win this game by 17, 18 points. I don't think they go that crazy. And it could be a backdoor cover here as well. But definitely pay attention to the injury news. Not a game that I bet at all. Before we get into, let's just see what people are saying in the comments. What up, Hude? Prolific says, good morning. Good to have you back. On the mornings, ain't the same. Appreciate that, Prolific. He says, smash the like button for the people for the people on the way in, and appreciate the work. Appreciate you, Prolific, as well. What's up, Eric? Peasy being here. DMP. What up, bro? Paul Millsap says, great content, Chris. Nando says, good morning, people. Have the Pistons plus 15.5. DMP says, I'm not laying laying 16 with Philly. Just can't get there with Detroit, though. Pass to the next game. Yeah, and I think, man, it's difficult. It's a game where you can't really play it unless you know who's going to be on the injury report. I really do believe that. I can see Maxey sitting out after playing 54 minutes. I can see Embiid coming back. I can see Tobias Harris not playing. Like, you don't even need all your starters in this game to beat this Detroit team, especially with Cade probably not playing. So, yeah, we'll get on to the next game. Let's go to the next one. Like I said, I'm not going to get to all the comments today. We got the Dallas Mavericks and the Charlotte Hornets, the next game on the board. This was a game that I probably spent too much time on. I was just trying to find the angle, man. I really wanted to find an angle, and I did. So you get Dallas here. They are 12.5 point. These lines was updated about an hour ago, so I think these lines should still be accurate. Dallas coming in as 12.5 point favorites against the Charlotte Hornets. total is at 221.5. This was at 219.5 yesterday afternoon when the lines first dropped. And I jumped on the under. I actually just sent it out about 5 minutes ago to the members. So looking at the spot, Dallas, they still have something to play for. Currently 5th in the West, 2 games behind the Clippers for the 4th seed, which would get them home court in the first round. Not sure if they get it, but I do think the Clippers losing today. Dallas win, that put them, a little bit closer in that spot. So first leg of a back-to-back, they actually got the Miami Heat on deck tomorrow. It's the 4th game in 6 nights for the Dallas Mavericks. And they're coming off an overtime game against the Houston Rockets on Sunday. Also a 5th game in 8 nights. On the Charlotte side, 1 day's rest, first leg of a back-to-back. They actually go to Atlanta tomorrow. 8th straight home game for them. And they've covered 4 of their last 5 and 5 of their last 7 during this homestand. So Charlotte has been competitive. And if you break it down and look a little deeper, it's been their offense. Like, this was a team that was struggling to get to 95, 97 points. And over the last 2 weeks, I think they're like the 14th offensive rated team. So my initial thought was Dallas team total over the 117.5. Charlotte's defense isn't good. 4 of their last 5 opponents have actually gone over their team total. And the Charlotte Hornets are 6-2 to the over in their last 8 games. If Dallas doesn't want to play defense here because they have tired legs, because they're coming off that overtime game against Houston on Sunday, this should be a game that's kind of similar to the OKC and Charlotte Hornet game on Sunday, where Charlotte was able to, OKC was able to get whatever it is that they wanted. And we left money on the table there. Charlotte is 29th in defensive efficiency last 2 weeks, giving up 122 points per 100 possessions. And their offense has picked it up. 14th, like I said, in points scored per 100 possessions, which actually forces other teams to score even more. So we left some money on the table Sunday by not taking the Charlotte team total over 113.5. Major matchup advantages for both teams here, being able to shoot the 3, and both teams actually struggling to defend the 3-point line. That was one of the main reasons why Houston went over and scored 70 points in the first half the other day. So I did play the over in this game. I just don't feel like Dallas is going to be locked in defensively in this spot, especially with another game tomorrow. So I play over 220.5 over on Caesars. Let's see what you guys are seeing here. Free Sauce, like this. He says PJ Washington points in the revenge game against the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Derek says appreciate the work in the AM. Let's cash these short road favorites today. Miami, Orlando, San Antonio. We're going to get to those games in a second, Derek. Nando likes the over here. Free Sauce says, bro here working 7 a.m. when the other guy's sleeping. Good hustle. Hey, this is just the show, Free Sauce. You don't see the hustle. The actual hustle comes way before. The show is an hour. I put way more time into it than that. P says, just joined a few seconds late, but you're taking Sixers minus 15.5? Absolutely not. I said the opposite of that, P, but I would wait until see where the line settles based on the injury report for the Philadelphia 76ers in this one, in my opinion. You can go back and check out the breakdown too. Jabari says, took my son to WrestleMania for his birthday. Need some of that money back. That stuff expensive. Absolutely. And top of the morning to my guy Justin as well. Appreciate you for pulling up as always, Justin. DMP says a lot of big spreads today. Make sure you pick and choose the right ones. Dallas will cover this. I don't know if Dallas is going to cover this, man. They could potentially cover it, but if they cover, it's going to be an over. I don't think it's going to be an under. Just don't see them playing too much defense. So over 220.5 is what I gave out about 10 minutes ago before the show started. So next game up, we got the Indiana Pacers. They will be in Toronto today. This line actually opened at 8. And I'm kicking myself, man, because I actually did a really good job of getting ahead of these lines. I started handicapping the games yesterday, probably around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern time. And we just didn't have the injury information. So now, of course, you got Quickly. He's out for rest, which lets you know that the Raptors don't want to win. He's out for rest, and they literally just had yesterday off. It makes no sense. So for the Pacers, 1 day's rest. They did get a big win against the Miami Heat on Sunday to keep them out of the play-in tournament, but they're only 1 game in front of Philly. So they still have something to play for. The Pacers do here. And I don't think they're going to lose the game. On the Toronto side, outside of Quickly, you also got Grady Dick listed as questionable. He left the last game with a groin injury. So they could be, even more shorthanded than they already have been. This was an interesting game to me from a total perspective because you see this super high total, and it hasn't really dropped even though Quickly's out. I think that should be, as long as the Pacers come in here, no funny business here on the defensive end, this Toronto team total is like 113.5. I think that they really struggle to get there. One of the biggest things I looked at was the Pacers, 10-3 to the under on the season as a road favorite, including 7-1 to the under if they're laying 7 points or more. So, and it's typically, their defense. Like, I know that this Raptors defense has been god awful, But do the Pacers really want to come out here and like score 300 points against Toronto? I think it's a look towards the under here, but I didn't play it. So Indy is the second best offense over the last 2 weeks. Toronto is the worst actual defense. They're allowing 125.5 points per 100 possessions. Indy should be able to get to the rim. Toronto 29th in opponent rim accuracy because they don't have a true big. Indy should score a ton of points in transition as well. Toronto bottom 4 in opponent transition points. I thought Quickly was going to be back though, which is why I wanted to take the over. So this is a game I'm going to stay off of. I do feel like Pacers should come out here and run Toronto off the floor. But I don't really like laying double digits with a Pacers team that can be a little lackadaisical at times. So I stayed away from this one. But if I had to play, I think I would look towards a Raptors team total under 113.5 would be my top look in this game. What up, Jose? Appreciate you for tapping in. Nando says he's going to pass. Free Sauce says Kelly Olynyk under his 7.5 rebounds. Top of the morning to my guy, Kenneth. Will says, what up, Chris? Top of the morning. Let's get some cash. Absolutely, my brother. Appreciate y'all for tapping in and joining, man. Let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we got the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. Not a game that I'm going to stay on long either because I don't have a play. This line is now. And so last night it was a pick. I think Milwaukee might have opened as a 1-point favorite. When I capped the game yesterday, it was moving towards a pick. And now you see Boston favored as 2-point road favorites. So you got Horford, Porzingis listed as questionable. I'm pretty sure neither one of those guys are going to play. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, Boston, they don't need to risk injury in this spot. Like, they have nothing to play for. They're number 1 seed in both conferences, so they go get home court advantage throughout the playoffs, whether it's in the East or they make it to the finals. And that, whatever happens is going to have to go through Boston as long as Boston is still in. With that being said, they have won 5 straight, 8 of their last 10. And you got to remember, they were embarrassed the last time they went to Milwaukee as well. They did get their get back in Boston, but they didn't even cover that game. When they went to Boston last time, it was the second leg of a back-to-back. It was a 5th game in 7 nights, and they got smoked in that spot. Didn't even play in the second half. So I'm not sure what the motivation is here. Shout out to Joe Mazzulla for being able to keep his guys competitive, though, because they have been winning games. They even got a push on the -17 against the Portland Trail Blazers the other day. Now, for Milwaukee, this is a bigger spot for Milwaukee here. So biggest thing I think that has to be mentioned is that Chris Middleton got his tooth knocked out in that last game on Sunday when they lost to the New York Knicks. He did visit a dentist, I think, on the same Sunday after the game. And he is listed as probable in this game. You also got Patrick Beverley listed as probable, but Giannis is listed as questionable. If you pay attention to the post-game interviews, Doc did say that he's going to be monitoring Giannis' minutes throughout the last week of the season. So definitely something to pay attention to here. Is the sky falling for this Milwaukee Bucks team? They've lost 4 straight, all as favorites. Their offense has really struggled. Just 109 points against the Knicks. They scored 111 against Toronto, 101 against Memphis, and 113 versus the Wizards. They've also lost 6 of their last 7 games. And it's the first leg of a back-to-back with the Orlando Magic coming into town tomorrow. And it's the 5th game in 8 nights. So my thoughts is, I think Middleton's going to play, but and Milwaukee should win the game. But is Boston just going to roll over? I don't think so. They need a win. Milwaukee does in the worst way to stop the losing streak. And I don't think Boston cares as much, so it's hard for me to take Boston here. Milwaukee's offense, like I said, it's been too bad for me to trust them to stop anybody. And it could potentially keep struggling because Boston can play defense. I think maybe a look towards Boston team total over is the way I would play it. Like I said, now this is the end of the season, the Boston guys, all of the good teams that have offensive players still want to get their numbers, but I'm not sure if they care too much about defense. So I would be looking towards Boston team total over. I would also be looking towards Peyton Pritchard props. I started looking at Peyton Pritchard a little bit yesterday because I know Boston been pulling their guys throughout the game. Peyton Pritchard, starters probably won't play big minutes. Again, he's coming off 26 minutes in his last game. He had 20 points and 8 assists. He also had a 33-minute game versus Sacramento where he finished with 21 points as well. Milwaukee, we know they struggle against guards. See exhibit Jalen Brunson, 43 points against them on Sunday. And granted, Peyton Pritchard is no Jalen Brunson, but this team historically this season has struggled versus guards. So maybe a look towards Boston team total over. I'm not sure like what Milwaukee's doing. I'm not sure if Boston wants to win this game either. So I'll be quick on this one. Let's see what you guys are seeing before we move on to the next one. Let's see. Good morning to my guy Mark. Nando says, I'm giving the Bucks one chance on the Bucks money line. DMP says, come on, Boston. -2 is a discount. Milwaukee might lose out. Boston wants to win. Easy play of the day. Okay. Nando says, give me Giannis points, rebounds, and assists over. Bucks have 0 chance if he doesn't play. Jose says, if the Celtics care for the game, Boston all day. And I agree. L Boogie, top of the morning. He says Peyton Pritchard, threes, over, and points. But that's when Tatum and Brown are ruled out. Justin says he got the Bucks division plus 300 in his pocket. Can't give no more of his bread to them. Jared said the problem is it's too easy to take the Celtics here. And I agree. Raptors fan, top of the morning, my brother. He says, I think the Celtics have their bond set on the playoffs. So I think we look at some of their star players to go under today. My guess would be Brown or Tatum. I could see that too. It's a difficult game to cap. Let's move on to another game that probably feels a little bit easier to cap. The Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks. So this was a game that I do like. Didn't quite get there, but I'm probably going to end up pulling the trigger here. This opened at 2.5 in favor of the visiting Miami Heat here. The total was at 221. It's up to 222.5. I agree with the movement going up. So Miami, they had Duncan Robinson listed as probable. Now, late last night, he's now listed as out. Kevin Love's going to play. Terry Rozier's listed as questionable, who played terrible in that game. And I know he was dealing with like some neck issue or something. He was saying like he's never felt that pain before. But he probably should have just stayed out of the game in Indiana. So for Miami, they have a small chance of getting out of the play-in tournament. With that loss to Indiana on Sunday, then they're on the 8th seed, but they're also just a game and a half behind the Indiana Pacers and a half a game behind the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the 4th game in 6 nights, 5th game in 8 nights for the Miami Heat, 3rd straight road game, and the first leg of a back-to-back with them hosting the Mavs tomorrow. This team has been strong on the road all season, 23-17 straight up, 23-15-2 against the spread on the road. They're 12-3 straight up on the road as a road favorite, including 6 straight wins on the road as well. Now on the Atlanta side, first game back home after a short little 2-game West Coast road trip where they lost both games by double digits to the Dallas Mavericks and the Denver Nuggets. 2 good defensive teams, similar to this Miami Heat team, and they've actually failed. This Atlanta team has failed to cover in their last 3 straight games. First leg of a back-to-back tomorrow as well, with Charlotte Hornets coming into town. And the Atlanta Hawks have been the least profitable team on the season. They're 15-24 against the spread at home, but in totality, they're also one of the least profitable teams as well. So my thoughts are, Atlanta, they won the last game by 1 point against the Miami Heat. But Miami actually won the first 2 meetings of the season. It's got to be a Miami spot here, coming off, a 2-point loss against the Indiana Pacers on Sunday. Not sure what's going on with Terry Rozier, but maybe he just doesn't play because he actually did hurt the team. He came out and said he thought he hurt the team. He did hurt the team on Sunday. I think he shot like 1 for 7 and had like 2 or 4 points or something like that. I think Miami should win this game with their defense. Atlanta has really relied heavily on the 3-point shot over the last 2 weeks. Miami has been a top 5 defense versus the 3. Atlanta has relied heavily on the 3-point shot. I think I said that backwards over the last 2 weeks. Miami's been top 5 defense versus the 3. I think Atlanta could struggle to score here. Also, got to mention this as well. The refs also came out and admitted that they missed the call on Tyler Hero getting fouled on the 3-point shot late. And they made an error on a foul that was called on Bam that was a clean block. So I think Miami probably going to get the calls here, especially with, the refs kind of, blowing such a crucial game. So, Heat minus the 3 would be the top play in this game. And it's something that I do have on my short list. Just want to see what happens with the injury report here. Atlanta don't really have anything to play for. I mean, granted, they, in contention they're going to get the play-in spot. It's just going to be determined whether they host it or whether they end up playing in Chicago. But it's a Miami spot for me in this game. That's the only way I'm looking is Miami, thinking that they can get the win here. Let's see what you guys are seeing. Nobody wants the Bucks. I'll take them plus the 2, Will says. Best of luck, Will. I hope you cash it, my brother. Nobody wants them because they got 4 straight losses, and 3 of them came against teams that's going to be in the draft lottery. Nando says, this is tough. I love this, but I'm on the Hawks plus the 4. Okay. He said he loves the Heat, but he's on the Hawks plus the 4. Okay. Justin says Heat minus 2.5. Stepped on it last night. Like the alignment there. I probably should have got in at the 2.5 as well. but I'll monitor it throughout the day. Thomas says, yeah, bro. Stepped on Jay Money's pick last night. Man, it's fire. Who is Jay on? I'm interested to know, Thomas. Who Jay like in this game? I bet you he like Miami. DMP says Miami is the play. I just don't see the offense for the Hawks. Atlanta team total under maybe a look as well. Yeah, I could definitely see both of those. Nando says I'm back in both centers, points, rebounds, and assists over. Free Sauce says over the 8.5 assists. What up, Tariq? He says the Heat took my money over the weekend. I'm giving them another shot to make it right. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you here. It's Heat or nothing for me. Haven't bet it yet, in full transparency. Let's keep going. Next game up, we got the New York Knickerbockers. They will be in Chicago. This was a game that I did bet. So this line actually opened. I got to this line late now too. I saw it open at 2. Then quickly to 2.5, and the total was at 213. It's come down to 212.5 now, and the line has moved up to 4. So for the Knicks, they got Bogdanovich listed as probable. I think everybody else is good to go. They have a ton to play for. The Knicks are 40? They're at 46 and 32. They're tied with the Magic, who own the tiebreaker over them in the East, and the Cavs are only a half a game behind New York for the final home court advantage spot in the first round. Right? Remember, top 4 seeds get the home court advantage. So the Knicks, 1 day's rest. It is a 4th game in 6 nights and a 5th game in 8 nights, but it's a lot of team that's playing on a 5th game in 8 nights. For Chicago, they got Caruso listed as questionable. They got Ayo DeSumo listed as questionable. And I think Caruso missed that last game, and that's why Javonte Green had such a big game. So the last week will determine if Chicago, like I said, will be hosting the final play-in spot against the Atlanta Hawks, or if they're going to play in Atlanta. So my thoughts here are pretty simple. You got a quick revenge spot for the New York Knicks. They just lost to the Chicago Bulls team on Friday, but that was the second leg of a home road back-to-back. That game went under the 211, but the total in this one opened a little bit higher, and that you can disregard that. But I did have that written in my notes. I looked at the Knicks, 9-3 straight up, 8-4 against the spread when they're seeking revenge this season, if they're the favorite. And I look back to that, what was the outlier in the game on Sunday? Javonte Green went off for 25 points. He shot 10 for 14. I don't see that happening again. The Knicks also shot just 34% from the 3, and I think they shoot a lot better versus the bottom 10 defensive team in Chicago Bulls. Chicago will play better, I think, because they just got their teeth kicked in against the Orlando Magic. They turned the ball over, I think, more times than the field goals that they made in the fourth quarter. DeRozan, I think, had like 7 of those, and he took it on the chin and said it was going to be him. But we got to remember something about this Knicks team: 16-3 to the under. And most of the time, it's the opponent team totals going under when OG Anunoby has played this season. So it's Knicks in this spot. I played the money line just because the Bulls are such a clutch team. Like, the Bulls suck. Don't get it twisted, but they are like, I think DeRozan even used the word erratic. Like, they're just a very Jekyll and Hyde team, man. He even called them that. He said they got to stop being that way because they win, they lose, they lose, they win, they win, they lose. They're just such a middle of the pack, but when you got DeRozan in the clutch, you kind of always gonna be in the game as long as you can keep it close to that point. So I played the Knicks on the money line yesterday, gave it out as at minus 146. I'm not sure where it is now. I don't really want to take the Knicks to win the game by multiple possessions because I do think it could potentially come down to that. But if I had to, proverbial gun to my head, I'm only laying the points with the Knicks here. And I see Free Sauce just said it. I totally forgot about that. Forgot about adding that to my notes, but I saw it as well. Josh Hart, outlier. He got ejected in the first 3 minutes because of the technical foul that was called against him. So absolutely, Free Sauce. Love that to add to the handicap here. It's a Knicks spot for me, even with the Bulls coming off a loss. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Nando says Jay on the Heat. Great. Love it. Will says Murray rebounds and assists over 13.5 in that last game. Nando likes the Knicks. Tariq says I just like the Knicks. Justin says he got the 3.5. He ain't scared. Val says, what's up, Chris? Josh Hart rebounds and assists. Also took his triple-double on Fanatic, I think is what he means. He said built it out, but alt lines and got a plus 3,000. DMP says Chicago coming off a loss. ATS is cash. Check and see, Chris. I'm all over Chicago. They are. You're right. I'm not going to argue that. I just think that, revenge spot here says that Knicks get their revenge. But you are right, DMP. That's why I played the money line and stayed away from the spread. Kobe White Will says, hasn't been shooting the ball well, but he needs one more three to beat Levine's season single record. So he took his over 2.5 threes here. Let's see. Nando says, I'm on both sides here. Told you last night, Chris. This morning I saw Chicago plus 4.5 and took that as well. Jose says Knicks all day. Okay. All right, let's keep it pushing. Next game up. Doing pretty good on time. Next game up, we got the Washington Wizards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Be super quick on this one. Wizards have Kuzma, Rashad Holmes, and Vucevic, I think is how you pronounce his name, all listed as questionable. Tyus Jones already ruled out. This is the 5th game in 8 nights for the Washington Wizards as well. They're coming off getting smoked by the Toronto Raptors. And you got a Timberwolves team, 5th game in 8 nights as well. They got a big win against the Lakers my Lakers on Sunday. But they also have a big game versus the Nuggets tomorrow in Denver. That has number 1 seed in the Western Conference playoff implications all on the line in that game tomorrow. So no way I'm laying 6. That was just the cap for me. There's no way. I know the Timberwolves can come out here and win this game by 25, but there's no way. There's no way I'm laying 16.5 with them having a game in Denver tomorrow. The Wizards are trash. I think we all know that. This may be the ugliest dog that I've taken ever in the history of the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show. And it's definitely the ugliest dog that I've taken in quite some time, but it have to be Washington here, plus the points with that big game against the Denver Nuggets tomorrow for this Minnesota Timberwolves team. All the implications on that game, I'll be looking towards Washington here, man. It's ugly. It's so ugly. That's the only way I would look, though. Let's see what you guys are seeing. I also forgot to mention this. Timberwolves don't typically cover in the first quarter and the first half when they have these big lines. Like, they typically play around with their food. I can see the Timberwolves really coming out here and punching the Washington Wizards in their mouth like early to try to get this game out the way. And I think the same thing when we get to the Denver game. I'm gonna mention this again against the Utah Jazz as well. Both of these teams in very, very big spreads spots, and both of them have a really, really big game today. So if they both came out and covered the first quarter, covered the first half, maybe even team total over, for the first quarter, first half, I could definitely see that being the spot here. Let's see what you guys. Raptors fan says the Wizards team total under 1. Last time, I suppose. Potentially Raptors fan. The only thing that scared me off is the Wizards still top. They're the number one pace team in the NBA. And if Minnesota's playing with their food, they could, potentially give up a ton of points, kind of like the Dallas Mavericks did against the Houston Rockets on Sunday. So the team total unders, I'm gonna probably stay away from them. Now, don't get it twisted. I think their team total is 103.5 because I did look at it, but I was like, they could potentially score that many points. 103.5 is a low number in today's NBA. Free Sauce says Nas Reed over 19.5. Want 6th man of the year, and Rudy Gobert over 13.5. Jose says, I like your style. Looks like we are on the dog train today. I mean, it's big spreads without a lot on the line. So we'll just keep pushing, getting to the next one. Spurs and the Memphis Grizzlies. I had a really difficult time capping this game. So San Antonio already ruled Keldon Johnson out. Wemby's coming off a career high 43 minutes on Sunday, and he's looking like he's about to be great. Like, Wemby, just take a second and give Wemby his props. Wemby's been crushing it. But you get the Spurs 1 day's rest, first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Oklahoma City Thunder tomorrow in OKC. Coming off a double overtime game, so typically a fade spot. You'd never want to trust those teams versus the Philadelphia 76ers on Sunday, where they just kind of ran out of gas late. They are 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games. Memphis does not want to win this game. They've already ruled out Luke Kennard, Santi Aldama, Desmond Bane, Jared Jackson Jr. All of those guys are out. And they have 2 days of rest. The first leg of a back-to-back, they got a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow. Head-to-head, Memphis has crushed the San Antonio Spurs. They've actually beaten them 10 straight times. And they covered the most recent one on March the 22nd, just about 2 weeks ago, as a 6.5-point dog. I think they won that game outright. So thoughts are very conflicting here. The San Antonio is playing like they do want to win. I know Memphis doesn't want to win, but it's a very, very difficult game. I don't want to lay with the San Antonio Spurs with them coming off the double overtime game. I know that they've been covering, but they've been covering as dogs and not necessarily as favorites. And you take the points here. You lay the points here. You need them to win the game by a possession, by 2 possessions. If Memphis wants to win, I do feel like they can compete, though. One of the most interesting things I took away from the handicap of this game is that San Antonio turned the ball over 25 times against the Philadelphia 76ers in their last game. And they turned the ball over at the 6th highest rate over the last 2 weeks. Now you play a Memphis team that's forcing the 5th most turnovers over the last 2 weeks. So major advantage for Memphis there. But, however, how good San Antonio has actually shot the three. They've actually shot the three really, really well. They're 6th in overall three-point frequency and 13th in accuracy over the last 2 weeks. And they're playing a Memphis three-point defense that's 29th in opponent three-point accuracy over the last 2 weeks. Allowed teams to shoot 44% from the three-point line. So San Antonio still has a major advantage matchup-wise there. So it's a stay-away game for me. I just wanted to give you guys a note. If I had to play it, I'd probably play the over. I think both of the teams end up scoring a little bit more than total suggests. So it'd be a look towards the over. I think San Antonio team totals like 108.5. I can see them getting to that with how bad Memphis defense has been. And conversely, I can see San Antonio's defense, struggling just a tad bit coming off the double overtime game, and Grizzlies being able to score a few more points than their super low total as well. So, like I said, not a game. I know it's not a game I'm playing, but wanted to give you guys the notes. Kuzma is not in. Tariq, he's listed as questionable. Jamie, good morning, my brother. Appreciate you for tapping in. Will Rizza says Heat Bucks Hornets team total under. Nas Reed over. Will Rizza also says heavy lean to the Spurs. DMP says Wolves don't cover in these at big spreads. Just take the other team. So I looked into that, DMP. I think the Timberwolves have been home favorites of 15 points or more 3 times. They are 2-1. 3-0 straight up, 2-1 against the spread. Their most recent one came against the Toronto Raptors, but they beat them by like 40. I think it was 48. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. Nando says Spurs and over. Freesaw says Wemby over is 11.5. Wemby and a little sprinkle on this triple-double. Mr. Wisconsin said this is a LA Fitness game and it's a 1-800-gambler game. I agree. Val says Spurs fan here. Went with Wemby triple-double. You already know. He's been flirting with it since I mentioned it. I'm playing it until the regular season ends. Okay. And DMP says I'm on the under here. Spurs defense with Wemby plus against the Memphis hustle. Yeah, give me the under. Nando says I'm on the Spurs money line and the over. Yeah, I think the total is a tad bit too low in this one, but don't let me talk you off, DMP. I didn't play anything. Let's keep it pushing. Next game up in a game that I like. Ooh, I wanted to get to the window with. And I could potentially still get there. We got the Orlando Magic. They'll be in Houston, laying 2.5 points. I saw this open at 1, then it went to 1.5. The total was at 211. It's come up to 214. You get an Orlando team, and this is the reason why I didn't take it, because I really wanted to go heavy on Orlando in this spot. Franz Wagner actually left that game on Sunday with a sprained ankle. The X-rays were negative, and he's listed as questionable. Jonathan Isaac, very, very big defensive piece for this Orlando Magic team, also left the game with back spasms and didn't return as well. Orlando still has so much to play for. With a week left, there's potential for them to finish as high as number 2 and jump the Bucks, or as low as number 8 in the Eastern Conference, with how tight the race is right now. And they do got a really difficult schedule. They played their last home game of the season. I think the Orlando Magic did on Sunday when they beat the Bulls. Right now they're a game behind Milwaukee for the second best in the Eastern Conference. The Magic 9-2 straight up, and 8-3 against the spread as road favorites this season. One of the reasons I really wanted to take them here. And you get a Houston team, 4th game in 6 nights, coming off an overtime game against the Dallas Mavericks. Terrible spot in my opinion. 5th game in 8 nights as well. They're eliminated from the playoff contention, and they probably should have beat the Dallas Mavericks. Well, no, probably too. They should have beat Dallas, but they couldn't. They couldn't foul when they needed to after Jabari Smith missed both free throws when they were up 3. That could either crush their soul or motivate them to finish the season even stronger. I looked at the head-to-head matchup. These two teams did play at the beginning of the season. I think it was the first night of the season. Orlando crushed them. Beat them 116-86, about 30 points to start the season. Orlando was laying 4.5 in that spot. So while I really want to take Orlando money line here, I don't know, man. Houston, they could be pissed off with how they ended that game on Sunday. If they're making their threes like they were against Dallas on Sunday, and Orlando's defense, it can be susceptible to giving up that 3-point shot. With Franz potentially missing this game, can't quite get there. But if he's ruled in, I do like Orlando a lot in this spot. I just got to wait, do my due diligence and wait on the injury report. I don't like Orlando as much without Franz Wagner. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Nando likes the Magic. DMP says after Nas Reed went dummy the other night for 30, he coming back to earth, take his points under. Against the Wizards is difficult to do, but I understand. Free Sauce that need Houston win this so Knicks can take the second seed potentially. That's a good look there. Nando says Magic going for the number 2 seed. Houston losing this one. Yeah, it's Houston or nothing for me. It's Orlando or nothing for me. I just didn't bet it because I do want Franz in. What's up, Tasha? Appreciate you for tapping in. DMP says, this easy. Magic gonna kill these boys. Magic by 30 if you can take the alt line with the Magic. So he thinks it's gonna be easy here. I don't know, man. I don't think it's gonna be that easy. Slightly disagree there. Let's move on to another game. We got the Sacramento Kings and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game will be played in OKC. This line opened at 2.5 in favor of OKC. And the total was at 227.5. It's up to 2. Well, total was at 228. It's actually come down. And the spreads moved to 5 now. And a big part of it was SGA being taken off the injury report, of course. Jalen Williams, J-Dub still listed as questionable, and Gordon Hayward's been out on the OKC side. OKC, one game behind both Minnesota and Denver for the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. I don't even know if they want the number 1 seed. Coming off 1 day's rest, it's the 5th game in 8 nights and the first game back home after a 5-game, 8-day road trip. And it's the first leg of a back-to-back with the San Antonio Spurs tomorrow. This Oklahoma City Thunder team they've been really, really good at home. They're actually one of only, I think, 2 teams, them in Boston, to have single-digit losses at home this season. 29-8 straight up at home, 23-14 against the spread at home. But they are just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. You look at Sacramento. I really, really, really wanted to get there with Sacramento. They got a lot riding on this game as well. Currently in the 8th seed in the Western Conference, 1 game behind New Orleans and Phoenix. Big time game for them. Fourth game in 6 nights, 5th game in 8 nights, final game of a 4-game road trip. They have been good on the road, 22-18 straight up, 24-15-1 against the spread on the road, coming off a blowout against the Brooklyn Nets, which we got right the other day. The reason why I didn't get there is because Keegan Murray is listed as questionable with a calf injury. And while I want to get there, I think that they'll be motivated, even coming off that win against Brooklyn. I think they want to finish the road trip 2-2 because they did lose the first 2. And they've actually matched up well against OKC in the past. Head-to-head, Sacramento's won 8 of the last 10 matchups, 7-2-1 against the spread. And OKC actually beat them in the last game, 127-113 at OKC on February the 11th. But I couldn't quite get there, man. Could not quite get there. I want Keegan Murray in, and I do want to take the points with Sacramento here. I just think it's a terrible spot for OKC returning home. Defense hasn't looked good recently. I'm concerned, though, that OKC will take advantage of Sacramento's 3-point defense because but if Sacramento wants to get out of their play-in tournament spot, I think they'll probably play really, really hard here. And they're getting 5 points in a game that it feels like they could potentially win. Without Keegan Murray, though, I can't trust Sacramento's offense, especially with Malik Monk being out already. So it's Kings or nothing for me here. I'm not betting OKC. Let's see what you guys are saying here. If SGA and J will play, OKC smash them, Nando says. Don't quite agree. I do think if Keegan Murray gets ruled in, Jalen Williams gets ruled in, and this line goes to 6.5, I'll be on Sacramento. Volcomrance, appreciate you for tapping in. Says good morning. Free Sauce like Fox over his assists. Let's see. Bond Pepper says plus on the Kings. They've been balling. Jamie says SGA damn near averaged 30 against the Kings, but he will play normal minutes tonight. He's not on the injury report. That is a fact. Justin says, I want to bet the Kings, but Murray being questionable and J Money being on OKC slowed me up. But I still might get there with the Kings. I'm not taking OKC. See that my guy Jay's on him. I'm still not taking OKC. I want Sacramento or nothing, but I need Keegan Murray in. Tasha says she likes OKC. Tariq says I took OKC -3 last night. If now, I would take Sacramento plus the 5.5. Raptor fan said he likes a bonus over his points, rebounds, and assists if Keegan Murray's ruled in. And DMP says, I'm with you, Chris, but I might pass. I didn't bet it. Did not bet it. I think we got to wait here. All right, let's keep going. We got a couple more games to get through. How many more games we got left? We got real quick. We got 4 games. Let's get through these games real quick. And a couple of them I don't got nothing on. So Denver and Utah, this line was at 13.5 last night. Yesterday it was at 13.5. It's all the way up to 15. Total was at 224.5. It's up to 225. This is one of the most difficult games to cap as well. So one thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned as far as injury report wise is Coach Malone did say that Jamal Murray was still on a minutes limit. And you got Aaron Gordon listed as questionable as well in this game. So Jamal Murray did come back in that last game, and he didn't have to play 4 minutes against Atlanta because they beat the brakes off Atlanta, and he kept them under his minutes limit. But he is still on a minutes limit. That's something that hasn't been reported. You got to go in and read checking on the beat writers to get that information. So Jamal Murray being on the minutes limit, Aaron Gordon listed as questionable. They probably don't need him to play in this game to beat this Utah team that's going to be without Chris Dunn, without Walker Kessler, without John Collins, and without Jordan Clarkson here. So Denver, 1 day's rest, first leg of a back-to-back. I already mentioned the spot for them having the Minnesota Timberwolves on deck tomorrow. Both teams have to travel. Denver will be traveling from Utah out of altitude into altitude, and the Minnesota Timberwolves will be traveling from home to get to Denver as well. I can't lay the points here with Denver. I can't do it. I know Utah has sucked. Like, Utah has been the worst team. Only 1 day's rest. First game back home after a little short 2-game road trip. They're 0-10 straight up in their last 10 games and just 3-7 against the spread. But if you go through and look at it historically, Denver has not played well in Utah. I remember a game last year where Denver pretty much had things locked up and they didn't necessarily have to, win the game. And they were playing in Utah and they struggled in that spot. Denver's actually 0-5 straight up and 1-4 against the spread over the last 3 seasons when they played in Utah. So my thoughts is with that big game tomorrow against the Timberwolves, I can't trust Denver here. Add to the fact that Denver always seems to struggle in Utah. Just got to give you guys those numbers. And it's a stay away spot for me. But I could see Denver coming out, like I said, with Minnesota and trying to get this game over with early to preserve their legs for that big game against the Minnesota Timberwolves tomorrow. Denver's played 28 games on the road. They're 8-18-2. So if you blindly just, backed the Denver Nuggets or faded the Denver Nuggets, they've only covered 30.8% of their games. They have 2 wins of those 28 games by 15 points or more. 1 versus the Blazers and 1 versus the Thunder earlier in the season. 15 is a big number to lay on the road in a meaningless game. It's Utah plus the points are nothing for me here. That's the only way I would look. But I do think a look towards Denver first quarter, first half to get this game out the way with may be also in the cards here. Let's see what you guys are saying about this one. Nando says, OKC, smack them boys up. Smack those boys for our pockets. Nando says, pass. Freesaw says, Jokic triple-double. Don't even sweat the game. Tasha says, Chris, you should only do a few games in the AM hour. I like getting all that out, Tasha. I capped all of them. I'm going to do all of them. And the show almost over. We only got 3 left. Paul Mills says, what site or resources to get that info close to the game start as possible? I'm not sure what this question means, but the resources I use are at the bottom. At the end of this graphics here, Paul. DMP says another big spread. Jamal in the lineup is crucial for the Nuggets, but the Jazz just can't play basketball right now. Jazz team total under might be a good look. Could potentially get there. Tasha says, well, I took the over 222 last night. No way betting this high spread. Frank said these games are ugly. Tariq says Porter Jr. points, he'll show off here, and that could be it. Jazz really been struggling against the 3-point line. So let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we got the Clippers and the Suns, man. This one made me want to stop sports betting, honestly. So I've been telling you guys for a while that ever since Phoenix lost to OKC, I've been off of them. And of course, they won every game except the last one against the New Orleans Pelicans, who came in there and punched them in the mouth on Sunday. But this line was at 3. Then it went to 3.5, and that's why I kind of saw that. And, I'm like outside last night, like running around with my son. He's like riding his bike and stuff. And we're playing basketball. And I'm like just waiting on the news for Kawhi. So fast forward. I come back in the house. Like he's eating dinner. I go take a shower, like doing some other stuff around the house. And I look back at the line and I see it all the way up to 6. I'm like, what? Kawhi must have got ruled out. I checked Underdog, and Kawhi got ruled out 37 minutes because I think Phoenix is a prime time bounce back spot here after coming off that loss. I don't want the line at 6 though. I don't want it at 7.5 either. And I hate that I missed the line. Like, this one really, really sucks. So let's jump into it. The Clippers, 1 day's rest. This is the fourth game in 6 nights. This is a terrible spot for them. 5th game in 8 nights, coming off that big win against the Cleveland Cavaliers on Sunday. They had to come back down 26, and that's a spot you always want to fade the team in the next night. You want to fade that team in the next night. That win kept the Clippers comfortably in the 4th seed in the West, especially with Dallas beating Houston. They kind of need to finish 4th in the West if they want home court advantage and don't have to want to go play in Dallas. Paul George played 44 minutes, had 39 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. I think he played the whole second half. It's a fade spot here. It's Phoenix. It has to be Phoenix or nothing. It's just a super big number to lay with Phoenix now, which is why I didn't give it out last night. You get a Phoenix team that's coming off that 8-point win as a 5.5-point favorite against the New Orleans Pelicans. Since the All-Star break, Phoenix is actually 7-2 straight up, 6-3 against the spread coming off a loss, including 4-0 straight up and against the spread in their last 4. They're 7-2 to the under after a loss since the All-Star break as well. And it's a double revenge spot here for Phoenix. Clippers actually beat them twice early this season in the same week. It was back in January, and both times the Clippers were laying 3, I think 4. This line has moved in a very, very big way. It's Phoenix right here. The way that I want to play the game, though, these are my thoughts. And also, I got to mention that Nurkic is listed as questionable as well. That came out late last night. So if Nurkic is ruled in, I want Phoenix in the first half. I see the line at 3.5, minus 125 on ESPN Bet right now. And I think that's the play here. Phoenix plus is a +6 in the first half after taking an L since the All-Star break in those games that I just kind of told you guys about. 7-2 straight up, 6-3 against the spread, but they are +6 in the first half after coming off a loss since the All-Star break. Meanwhile, you got a Clippers team that just 1-3 straight up and against the spread as a road dog since the All-Star break, and they're only averaging 98 points per game. Without Kawhi and a fatigue PG, I think Phoenix responds here. So double revenge, tired Paul George, no Kawhi. It's Phoenix. First half, minus the 3.5, didn't play it yet. And I'll be looking towards the Clippers team total to go under as well, with Phoenix playing a lot better defense is the way I'm looking. Let's see what you guys are saying about this one. DMP says, don't stop betting, big dog. We need you. Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. It says, shout out here, Philippines. We always watch your live videos every night before we bet. Hey, that's love. I appreciate that a lot, man. A lot of gratitude tapping in from across the world. Appreciate that for sure. Bond says, I take the over 226 on this one. Tariq says, I hate betting these two teams. Possible pass. DMP says, I'm on the Suns right now. They've been cashing for me besides the other night. Will says, Clippers are teetering on a loss. I'll take this Phoenix Suns first quarter and first half. Like that first quarter look as well, Will. Haven't played a lot, but I do like that first quarter. Freesaw says KD over 4.5 first quarter points. Trust me. Metro says I took the Pacers Raptors under 240 for 200. I don't know if that's $200 or what, 200. Hope it ain't 200 units, but I do like that under 240 a lot as well. Metro, hope you cash it. Let's get on. We got 2 more games left. Next one up, and it's not 2 games, I bet. We got the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. Game will be played in LA. Lakers actually opened as 2-point favorites. They're up to 2.5 now. And this total opened at 232.5, and it's up to 234. I think I agree with the movement on the over, even though Golden State has been an under team since the All-Star break. Lakers offense just been looking really good. So Golden State, 4th game in 6 nights, 5th game in 8 nights here. Steph did rest, and and the game was pretty much over against Utah at halftime on Sunday. So Golden State should be rested, even though it is a 4th game in 6 nights and a 5th game in 8 nights. For the Lakers, of course, Bron and AD are listed as questionable. The Lakers, that loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves did put them back in the 9th seed in the Western Conference the other day because the Sacramento Kings did win. And AD, of course, left that game, got poked in his little eye, never returned. And it's a 5th game in 8 nights for the Lakers as well. Of course, Bron didn't play in that last game. So this is it's a difficult game, man. I told you guys I'm not betting Laker games. I'm either watching or I'm asleep. Like I know I'm not betting it though. And Golden State, they've looked really, really good. This is a revenge spot for the Lakers. We got to remember, AD got hurt in that last game when they came to LA, and he didn't play in that one. And Golden State won that game. Golden State's look really, really good, but they've kind of taken their foot up off the gas just a tad bit. I think that they would rest Steph in that last game. I think that could be in preparation of trying to come in here and steal this game from the Lakers today. If everybody plays for the Lakers and everybody plays for the Warriors, I have no idea what to do with this game, man. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to tell you guys something that I don't feel too strongly about either way. Golden State's been playing good. Lakers have been playing good. Just pass on the game, in my opinion. But if you had to bet it, whatever you do, I hope you cash it. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Lakers money line. Tasha says she took it. Free Sauce says D'Lo revenge potential. John says you think in a fatigue spot Harden can get 8 assists, 8.5 assists. So what I'll say about fatigue spot for Harden here, John. Harden is not in a fatigue spot. Harden actually left the game against the Cleveland Cavaliers at the 5-minute mark in the third quarter, and Ty Lue never put him back in. He was playing like trash. Ty Lue, he said that it was because of like some calf soreness or something like that. It wasn't no calf soreness. James Harden not even on the injury report. I don't think. Could he potentially? Yeah, but I don't like it if I like the under for their team total over. For their team total, and I don't like I think the Clippers struggle offensively here, so I don't think it's a major fatigue spot here for Harden. Though he didn't go look at the box score, he didn't play that many minutes. Nando says Lakers spot all day. Let Curry those Warriors King James. I'm not sure. Let's Curry those Warriors King James. Jared says team total over for these teams. What you think, man? I need to look a little bit more into it, Jared. Not gonna just tell you anything. Tasha says, Chris, stick with your boys today. Jose likes the over. Tasha says, scared to take the over under though, but leaning towards the over. DMP says, I'm a true Laker fan. I'm from Cali, 139th to be exact. But Chris, just guess what I'm gonna say. Don't fade Steph. Hey DMP, I love when you're in the comments, man. You funny guy, bro. Tasha says she did take the Warriors team total over as well. Let's get on to the last game, man. I'm not betting that Laker game. I know I'm not. I don't care if Anthony Davis and LeBron do play. It was a game that I wanted to look a little deeper into, but I knew I wasn't going to play it. So New Orleans and Portland last game on the board today. It's an ugly game as well. This line opened at 10. It's up to 12.5 now. Total opened at 212.5. It's up to opened at 210.5, up to 213 at most books. And this is the game where you probably could take the over. Portland in a real bad spot. First game back home after a 7-game road trip. That's the worst spot. And they only had 1 day off in between to fly back from Boston cross country. You get a Pelicans team that is trying to get out of that play-in spot as well. This is the second of a 3-game road trip for them. They got Sacramento on Thursday. Coming off that 8-point win as a 5.5-point dog against the Phoenix Suns. Zion had probably his greatest game of his life. I think he had 4 blocks. He was hitting jump shots. He was like talking trash. Like, yeah, it was crazy. And they got Jose Alvarado back in that game. Najee Marshall is listed as doubtful here. And for Portland, Jeremy Grant's been listed as doubtful for like the last 3 months. And Anthony Simons is still going to be out as well. Portland just going through the motions, man. They probably can't 1, 2, 3 Cancun. They can't wait to, get to wherever they want to go to for vacation. Pels have dominated this team as well. They're 8-2 straight up, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10. They've won all 3 meetings and covered all 3 games by double digits this season. Covered all 3 spreads, I think, as well. So it's Pels team total over in this spot. If I had to play anything, I just think that they're gonna be they're gonna be able to score. We got to remember Portland just played against Boston that loves to shoot a bunch of threes as well, and they struggled in that spot. So I think Pels, could they, kind of let down after beating the Phoenix Suns in their last game? They could, but I think that they continue to take care of business. I'm not laying the 12.5 here, but I do think that their team total over is a pretty good spot here. Let's see what you guys are saying. And it wouldn't surprise me if they covered, especially with Portland. Like I said, first game back home after 7-game road trip. Free Sauce likes Aiden over his 22.5 points. Tasha says she thinks Portland can cover. DMP says, no, Bond says Pelicans minus the 12. CJ will ball out on his former team. I forgot about CJ going back to the good old streets of Portland. DMP says Portland team total under for me. Can't get there with the spread for the Pels. That's one way of looking at it, DMP. I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking team total over, but it's probably not a game I'm a play. Real quick, let me see what that team total under is. They scored 107 points against Boston in the last game of that road trip. That team total today is 100.5 on Bet365. Is the best number I see right now. Down to 98.5 on Bet Rivers though, so I couldn't talk you off. Portland team total under 110, 105, 101, under 100.5. And Justin saying, great show. Appreciate you as well, Justin. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. So top looks on the board today. I gave you guys a couple more that's outside of this list if you listen to the show. But I did play Charlotte Dallas over the 220.5. Like I said, I don't think Dallas is going to be locked in. Charlotte offense actually 14th over the last 2 weeks in points scored per 100 possessions. And we just saw Dallas kind of, let their foot up off the gas. I think they'll coast to these wins, right? One thing I wanted to mention as well, I think this is important for handicapping, throughout the last week and a half of the season. These teams that are really, really good, they probably not going to play their best defense in these meaningless games, right? So will Dallas want to win? Absolutely. Do they want to catch Clippers and, get the 4th seed in the Western Conference versus playing as the 5 seed and having home court advantage? Absolutely. Does that mean they play their best defense? I don't think so. The Charlotte Hornets team totals like 103.5. You only need them to score 104 in this spot. And they have been doing that in their last few games. And I don't think that they're going to be able to stop Dallas. So I did play the over 220.5 here. And then I took the Knicks on the money line. I probably would buy a point in that game. Like I said, Chicago does really, really well in clutch games. But I like the Knicks. I like the Heat. Didn't play the Heat yet. But I'm probably going to add the Heat. And a couple of these team totals over there we talked about as well. Best plays on the board for the day. I appreciate everybody for tapping in as always, man. Here are the resources that I use to handicap the game as always. If you guys have questions about these, shoot me a DM on Twitter. I don't mind helping out. That's how I got started in the industry. And I'm always, look out for the people. As long as you ain't working for the sports book, you good money in my opinion. So resources that I use are here. And then one more thing I wanted to mention, I will be back on at 10:30, I think, with Cal on his show. Cal Kerms, my guy. We'll be going through these games again. So yeah, check out Cal. Be on his show at 10:30 today, Eastern Standard Time as well. If you guys enjoyed the show, do me one favor, hit that like button for me. Share the show as well. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Link for all my plays are in the description. As always, if you want them, make sure if you sign up, you use the $5.99 link to get the plays. The $2.99 link is just to support the channel. And best of luck as always, man, on all your action. I hope you guys cash your bets. I'll probably be back at 5 p.m. to do an evening show because we'll have more information. It'll be a shorter show, but I think we did pretty good keeping the show under an hour with all the games that we got. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. I hope you guys have a great day and cash all the tickets that you play. Catch you guys in the next one, man. I'm out.